travelling circus that is the ERL keeps us here in Spain with Casper Lebo on pole, followed by teammate Chris Cornwell, and then the Maserati duo of your boy and Sebastian Ocampo. UK Ball starts 5th from Marcus Nelson and Verstio. Then comes Revo starting 8th from Nico Palomino and David 12. Arthur Catfish and Citroen's Ewan Puff round out the top 12, followed by Linus Eriksson and Nunez Garcia. Remy Lebo starts 15th from Charles Hernandez and Gabriel Barton. Then comes teammate Daniel Baltasar and Daph Sanchez. Onkro Ezra starts 20th. Then comes the back 4 of Zach Sheeden, Wallace DeClerc, Carlos Fernandez, and Dominic Hudson. All 24 cars returning to the grid here in Spain for what should be the fans' favorite session before racing action begins here in Spain. The preseason test race is underway. Great getaway off the line there from both of the Sims cars. I think a better start came by ways of Chris Cornwell in that number 96 car as they head down into turn number 1. Look out for your boy trying to go around the outside of Chris as they go side by side up the hill through turn number 3, followed closely by both teammates Sebastian Ocampo and the Englishman in the number 89 of UK Ball, right on board at the 13 of Marcus Nelson, who gets past UK Ball there in that battle for 5th between the two champions. But then, look at that power car getting past Ocampo in the battle for 4th. This man trying to slice and dice his way through the field as quickly as possible as Lebarton gets a track limits warning further back. With that 89 starting on the soft compound tires, probably the optimal option then, as he is now up in 4th place. Revo's moved up to 6th momentarily, actually running a very low battery percentage there, 52%, so looking for an early pit boost stop. Across the line we go for lap 2 of 16, and about 67% there for UK Ball. Remember, these guys are now allowed to recharge their batteries down in the pits, and you can actually see how they do that. Basically, they stick a plug into the side of the car, and that feeds it power back into the battery. And that'll allow it to complete the full race distance. David 12 going alongside, trying to go around the outside. I don't think that'll quite work out for you, though. And it does not work out for the man driving car number 12. This race could very well be decided by strategy as well as a daring last lap pass. We saw both things effectively happen over in the FG series if you stuck around to watch that. Catfish going side by side and past Nunez Garcia in the battle for 13th. They stay side by side though. The Citroen Virgin driver will move in front. Casper Lebo, fastest lap, leading this race. But look at UK Ball once again looming large in the mirrors of the Maserati car in front. And whereas the first part of this test showed that Revo and Revolution Racing still most definitely had the pace to whoop the field in a single lap, here, in this little preseason test race, which had qualifying determined by a semi-random lottery, the specifics of which I will not get into here, starting in the midst of the top 12, but not near the front, doesn't really seem to suit Revolution Racing in the way they run their races. At least not right now, but for all we know, they could put on a clinic and bring it home by the time the checkered flag falls. Into the pits there for Casper Lebo and for your boy. Green flag pit stops then. That was a very, very late dart to pit lane for Marcus Nelson. Take a look at how much smaller those front wings are now. Before, you could have seen many an incident with the front wings getting snapped off or collected with other drivers. In fact, a lot of drivers coming down into the pits, swapping onto hard compound tires there for Revo. Let's see what his battery percentage looks like now. Up to 99% for a full recharge then. Lost a lot of ground as he's now behind Ewan Puff, and UK Ball lost ground to Marcus Nelson there, who I presume didn't charge the battery as much. Let's take a look. No, he's at 99% as well. So, the more you know. The 96 at the head of the pack, 2-3 seconds up on Sebastian Ocampo, who is either trying to close up or trying to save tires, well, the top two both come in fact, make that the top three. Wouldn't be surprised if everyone who's currently out on the track right now came down into the pits. This is going to lead them to feed back into the field, but with fresher tires and the drawbacks of trying to do a quote-unquote overcut strategy, because with the tires degrading, they don't really go too much faster. Top three have all stayed out. Casper LeBeau hurtling down the main straight is in front of teammate Chris Cornwell, followed by Sebastian Ocampo, who's going to go side by side with teammate your boy down into turn one, with a 27 lifting off, knowing not to make any sort of collateral damage. So the overcut actually working for Sebastian Ocampo, but not really working out too well for Chris Cornwell. The undercut seemingly working better there. We've got a yellow down in sector 2. Gets cleared up. Now I wonder who that was for. If that was for Revo and Ewa Puff, it very well could have been. But I'm not seeing damage to either car's front wing. Could have been a phantom debris caution, for all that I know. Into the pits there for Dan Sanchez. Linus Erickson staying up for a 6th lap on those hard compound tires. Hudson down into the pits as well. So now the two Sims drivers and the two Maserati drivers charging after a gap of 10 seconds. With 10 laps to go. Casper LeBeau and Chris Cornwell. Is that Sebastian Ocampo as well? No, it is not. Second and third, both boxed for 5-second time penalties. Disobeying the track limits here in Spain. It's a very easy thing to fall foul of. It's just not really something that you would want to. In fact, there's Theo also now in front of Revo. So that 7 car is just going backwards today, as LeBarton gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits as well. You can see the field bringing out a little, staying single file, trying to figure out where is the best place to make a pass, as Ericsson, who is waiting for a safety car, realizes it's just not going to come. Cornwell trying to close up to the back of her teammate in Casper LeBeau, going through the opening chicane, and she loses a lot of time to the 34 in front. This is something that we're seeing a lot more often. Whenever a move's happening, drivers will often choose self-preservation above all else. The top 5 all struck with 5-second time penalties. So if first Theo gets a bit of a rig-along and the safety car comes out, he could be the net race leader. Revo's come down into the pits and will go on to a set of mediums as he now comes out with U-Cable in front. That's an early second stop there, as the 89 gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits as well. Bogdasarov and Zach Sweden also came in for second stops. So for Ericsson, he could actually be in the net race. Well, he's on softs, which, as we know, not very long lasting. Then again, so are Sanchez, U-Cable, Revo, and Bogdasarov in terms of not being on the longer lasting tyres. Casper LeBeau comes in and will serve a time penalty. We'll be saying that a lot today, I'm sure. Halfway through this race, no one really thinking about doing anything too crazy. Hernandez staying right behind Awful Catfish. Thailand versus Malaysia. That 52 staying very close. Ericsson looking for a pass as well. Here comes that 52 car side by side with Awful Catfish for 5th place. And he's going to stay side by side as they come through turn 4, keeping it clean. And that will be 5th place for Charles Hernandez. Awful Catfish, however, staying right there just to make sure that Ericsson doesn't get past. And you know what? That Malaysian old dog staying very close, wanting to keep it around the outside. Despite the age of those hard compound tires, he's racing as if they're brand new. Bogdasarov going to hit for a track limits infringement as well. Stays to the inside, coming through turn number 9. That is the 2 of Awful Catfish in the red Marks Revolution car. Here comes Ericsson, looking for a pass as well. He moves up to 6th place. Can he close up to Hernandez coming through the final 2 corners? It doesn't matter, as the Thai driver pulls it into pit lane. 7 to go. Linus Ericsson now leads this race for BMW and Andretti. Revo, who moves up to 6th now, maybe even 5th. That is 5th in front of Chris Cornwell. Now has the fastest lap and making the most of what must be said is a brilliant undercut, but gets slapped with a 5-second time penalty of his own. David 12 also getting hit with a time penalty for track limits. All of this coming down at turn 2. So you're going to be wanting to keep your eyes on the running order and not the official classification of this test in terms of who's quicker and who's not. Track limits for Ring LeBeau as well. This session really exists to make sure that all of the settings for the stewards are operational. Cable on the back of Hudson. The top 4 all dive down into the pits and Revo follows them in. So Chris Cornwell will lead us to lap 10. As we have some dark clouds here in Spain. Ocampo second, 1.1 seconds off the back of Chris Cornwell. Then comes Verstio. Marcus Nelson going side by side with Nico Palomino. Needs to keep this clean coming through the opening chicane. We've seen this from his teammate. How to make a move coming through turn number 3. Keep it right behind. But by this point, Hernandez was already alongside Sheehan with a 5-second time penalty for track limits as well. Palomino closing in. Can he go around the outside? No, you cannot. He's going to have to wait for about turn 13. That's the penultimate corner to make a real lasting overtake. But he's got the inside now. That's the shorter way around the track, which can be advantageous. Does he go around the outside again? No, he does not. He just can't find the way to get past the Andretti man in front, and the door is now firmly shut in front of the Spaniard. David 12 is now thinking about making a pass here, although he could just come down into the pits. Yes, they all come down into the pits, in fact. Garcia will move up into 4th place as a result of all that. 5-second time penalty for track limits for Chris Cornwell in the number 96 car leading this race. A lot of track limits time penalties coming in. That's Awful Catfish, who's just come out of the pits, right behind Linus Eriksson. Fastest final sector for your boy, who is in 15th place right now. Ezra getting a track limits time penalty as well. We've had no safety cars of any sort. If the safety car came out around now in this race, that could be a problem, because you've got to let all the cars go by, and as a fan, and in the session that you're probably looking forward to most before the season gets started proper, this would not fly too well if the race ended under a safety car. Cornwell, Ocampo and Verstio all coming in. Garcia follows them in. Linus Eriksson on 1 lap old hard compound tires might have played the strategy well. We've seen him go 6 laps on the same set of hards. Can he do it again to take home the win today? Well, he's got a 5-second time penalty, but his buffer to Dominic Hudson is 8 seconds, and Hudson himself has a 5-second time penalty. That's your boy and you Cable going side by side down into 1, almost contact there for the Englishman, but he lifts off way before he even got close. That 27, the highest driver up in the order without a time penalty. Nelson gets 1, Palomino gets 1, Garcia gets 1. Just keep an eye on that top of the screen to see who's in trouble with the stewards, as we've got 4 laps to go in what has been a very clean preseason test race, especially in comparison to what we saw in the FG Series. Track limits warning for Oinkro Ezra. Look at Cornwell going alongside with the UK ball down into 10, gets the door closed, he's going to go to the inside, but unfortunately for her, that is not a pass that will happen. Aboard with that 89, as we go on to lap 13 of 16. Into the pits for Dominic Hudson, a 3rd and final stop. Casper LeBeau, Chris Cornwell, and New Cable all dive down for a 4th stop. Those softs just didn't hold up, and nor did the mediums. Oh, we know, the teams could be seeing wets being possible, but no. Softs go on for Revo. I believe those are fresh softs. And he is managing the temperatures there. Catfish getting hit for track limits. Out of the pits there is Dominic Hudson. Hernandez getting hit for track limits as well. And with 3 laps to go in what in a usual ERL race, this point is crunch time for all the drivers. This is when you need to be eating into those gaps. These new Bridgestone tires with grooves in them, they provide less grip. It's a lot harder to get them up to temperature. Into the pits though for Linus Ericsson. Sebastian Ocampo takes the lead. Chris Cornwell 5 seconds off the back. So now for Chris, she is racing time. 2 tenths, 7 tenths off of Sebastian Ocampo, a driver with a 5-second time penalty. Just keep it on the white, within the white lines there, or even on the white lines. And for Chris Cornwell, that could be the win in this little preseason test race. 4.6 seconds off the back. If the race were to end now, she would win it. But now that gap extends. Ericsson, once again, another 5-second time penalty after he's just served this last one. Revo looking for a pass on Dominic Hudson. He's a bit too far back, though, to even think about getting it to stick. Casper LeBeau right behind him, going over the curbs and getting a time penalty for that little excursion. As we are about to head on to the penultimate lap of this race with Sebastian Ocampo, a man who has not won a race in quite some time. I think you have to go back to about season 26, I want to say, for this man's last race win. I don't think he got anything with next EV. Palomino heads down into the pits for a full stop. 12 also down into the pits before the beginning of their penultimate laps of this race. The gaps throughout the field actually increasing quite substantially. Revo on the back of Hernandez, looking to try and benefit and capitalize on some drivers with time penalties. The Italian going side by side with the Malaysian in that number 31 car. Does he lift? He does, just to avoid contacts. He's a smart man in that 7 car as Hudson gets a time penalty. LeBogton, 5-second time penalty for track limits, and keep an eye on that timing tower now. 3.84 seconds. With a 5-second time penalty waiting in the wings there for Ocampo as Nelson stayed out on the mediums for 5 laps. I think he might have gone a puncture. In fact, Cornwell comes in. Ocampo is in. Versio is in. Garcia stays out and will begin the current lap. 1 to go in the lead for Citroen Racing. That is not something I expected. I surely, for sure, expected those guys to stay out. I think, quite possibly, Citroen Racing might have played the field like a fiddle, because Ericsson is 8 seconds back, and he's got a time penalty. The top 3, all with 5-second time penalties. It doesn't matter. Not to this Luxembourgish driver. He's got wins in the ERL already. I believe both of them came in Rome. But now it's a day on strategy, on knowing when to pit more than anyone else, making those tires and making the energy in the battery last longer than anyone else. This race belongs to Luxembourg's number 25, Nunez Garcia, will win this preseason test race. And honestly, the team getting a lot of running. Safety car comes out. Oh, Revo spins it round and is out of the test with your boy. Oh my goodness, that's 4 cars out in one incident. It's at 5. I hear 5 as Casper LeBeau's gone off the road after contact with U-Cable. What in the world happened as they tried to bring it to green? Well, it is the ERL, so of course it's not going to stay green. They did fly the safety car, although no one's going to follow it. Marcus Nelson at the very back of the pack. I'm hearing now he had a puncture, which is why he had to pit and lost a lot of time for the guys in front. But for Citroen Virgin, they can rest easy knowing that their strategies are good. And Andretti, Porsche, Power Motorsport, Sims Racing, and I think Revolution as well know that they have pace. And here is your podium. Nunez Garcia and Citroen Racing. Tire Whisperers, Battery Whisperers today, coming home with the win, followed by Linus Eriksson and BMW Andretti, sorry. Charles Hernandez coming home in third, followed by Chris Cornwell, Sebastian Ocampo, Daf Sanchez, and Remy LeBeau. Versio was 8th, followed by Hudson, Uapuff, Palomino, and Gabriel Labarthe in the top 12, followed by Chaklerk, Bogdasarov, David 12, Awful Catfish, Zach Sheeden, Casper LeBeau, and Marcus Nelson, with U-Cable, your boy, Carlos Fernandez, Revo, and Oinkro Ezra all being collected in the final moments of that race. And with that being said, that is your preseason before this new season of the ERL gets underway. We'll try and get some racing in the FG Series to you tomorrow on Sparkplug Motorsport 2. Keep an eye on the community tabs, by the way. If you want to know what the point systems look like this season, you can take a look at the community tabs here on SPM 1 and on SPM 2 to see what has changed. Again, like, comment, share, and subscribe if you really enjoyed any of this from the ERL. You can support the channel by getting a channel membership. Hopefully those have been greenlit. Again, if they are still blocked, then take a look at the Sparkplug Motor store in the second link in the bio of the channel. But from all of us here at Sparkplug Motorsport 1 and 2, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time then for round 1 in the ERL FG Series, the Beijing E-Trophy. Don't miss it! And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.